Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. And in today's video is a continuation of how many holiday books did I read. I read 32 and I had to make it into a part 2. So here's part 2. Enjoy. And then I read My Favorite Holiday by Lauren Blakely. This one was a little long. I loved that Lauren Blakely was able to blend holiday vibes with a pining billionaire. That is awesome because she didn't make it like a cliche. There was nothing cliche about this book. So this book had a fake dating in it, and it was more about sticking it to her horrible ex. Wilder is our hero, and he really pined for Fable, who is our heroine, and they had a great fake dating romance going on there, and his daughter's relationship with Fable was really well done. I just enjoyed it. The romance was sexy with sweet little romantic moments, which I really love. If it's sexy with sweet romance moments, I'm hooked. And you had the holiday plus wedding vibes in it. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. So the next book I read was My December Darling by Lauren Asher. This is a holiday novella. It was a fully developed romance and a fully developed plot. The tension was there. It was cute. It was short. I enjoyed it. 4 stars. There's not much more I can say about it. Then I read Gifted to His Dad by Jessa Wilder. And this gave you everything you wanted in a smutty romance. It's literally, you knew what you're getting when you read a book. This is Gifted to His Dad with this cover. It delivered on exactly what it promised. It was MFM, and it was just a damn good time. There was no character growth. Lots of fantasy, sexy times. It was smutty, good time, honestly. And it had a dash of holiday cheer. They went and looked for Christmas trees and stuff. I gave 4.5 stars, but I rounded it down to 4 because it's not there. But if I was going to weigh it against some of the other books that I was giving 4 stars, this one was just slightly better. So that's why I give 4.5 stars. Got a package and my butt is starting to come numb. So the next book I read was December Nights by Victoria Wilder. This one is really a soulmates holiday romance. It was short, it was sweet, it was sexy. There was mysticism to the plot. The heroine knew that her true love was going to come, and it was the hero. And her grandmother was kind of psychic. I think she was psychic or a witch or something. And she's like, yes, this guy is going to be your one true love. And it was a fun time. They had chemistry. I enjoyed it. 4 stars. And then I read Children Thrill by Cleo White. So this one, I like that they had a past and they were mutually pining for each other. This was my first Cleo White book, and honestly, I had a lot of fun. So Sophie had been secretly pining for Bram, who's her best friend's dad, and also who is her boss. Anyway, she worked with him for over a year. Bram is a 40-something-year-old architect. He's really wanted Sophie since she started working for him, and Sophie really wanted him too. So they ended up getting snowed in together after he saves her, and they have a really good time together. So it's forced proximity, Snowden, and her best friends actually, his daughters, honestly, they took the news very well. There's going to be a second book, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a Valentine novella. So in the same vein as Chilled and Thrilled, I'll probably read it. I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. Then I read The Mistletoe Bat by Maren Moore. This is book 1 in the Strawberry Hollow series, and I gave it 3.5 stars. It was a small town Hallmark style brother's best friend smutty novella, and it was everything that it described. The story, I like the story, I like the romance, but the ending was somewhat unbelievable, and I really didn't like the brother. So I have a hard time with brothers' best friends, because sometimes brothers act like jackasses, and that just makes me want to roll my eyes. Then I read The Stocking Was Hung by Tara Savick. I'm sorry, this one. I gave it 4 stars. And the reason why, like, not everybody can handle Tara Savick. Like, she's fun. This book, his last name was Stocking, and he was hung. This was dirty, had holiday vibes. She had a whack job of a family. Her family was nuts. It was fake dating. He was pretending to be her boyfriend, who she broke up with because her boyfriend proposed to her, and she didn't really want to marry him. But this guy was a Marine without a family, and he goes, sure, I'll go home with you. It was somewhat unbelievable, but man, it was a good time. 4 stars for that one. But his last name was Stocking, and he was hung. And it just made me cackle. I'm still laughing over that book. Every time I think about it, I still laugh over that book. It was a good time. And then I read A Very Merry Mistake by Laura Parrish. This one is book 1 in the Very Merry series. I don't know what else is going to be on this one in this series because it's a new series. This one was small town, holiday destination town. Heroine billionaire meets the lumberjack romance. Claire's in town to buy Jake's family farm for her dad's hotel/resorts business, and he rescues her from the side of the road when she forgets to fill up her gas. And they spend 15 days snowed in together, and then they fall in love during those 15 days. Claire has to come to terms with the fact where her heart really lies, whether she really wants to be CEO or she really wants to be with this guy. The romance is pure lust to love within a month. Okay, the story explores what really matters and not being a perpetual people pleaser, because she was very much a perpetual people pleaser. Anyway, there was some praise kink in here as well, along with some holiday cheer. It was fun. I gave that one 4 stars. And then I read 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. This is book 2 in the Christmas Tree Farm Mystery series by Jacqueline Frost. I really enjoyed this one. This one I gave 4 stars. Holly is still in mistletoe. And here's the thing. A lot of these, their heroines' names are Holly, which it'd be fun to see if someone actually comes up with another name besides Holly. But Holly is still in Mistletoe, Maine, and Evan has become secretive about stuff which has come between them since between book 1 and book 2. Then a body turns up in a candy display. Her best friend is Caroline, and Caroline is the main suspect because her special knife that she has her name engraved in it, because she's a baker, it was inside the guy, and the guy was not a good guy. He was a really bad guy. So this one had the cozy holiday vibes with the whodunit murder plot. The relationships between the characters were still well developed, and we find out why Evan is a little off-putting, and it's because I'm gonna just say it anyway. He has a sister who is running from something, and he's trying to keep her safe in a small town, Maine. We also see Ray, who's the newspaper guy, and so we have this little found family feeling. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The pacing was spot on. I give 4 stars. And then I read Can I Tell You Something? This is book 1 in the Snowbound Secrets series. The romance was really good. The characters were interesting. They were well developed. It was a solid 4 stars until the brother decided to throw hands. Basically, he got nasty and became a jackass. And that irrational behavior is why I typically don't like brother's best friend romances. So it went down to 3.5 stars because I got really irritated at the end because of the brother. Just, can we be adults? Thank you. Then I read Dashing All the Way by Chelsea Curto. I think that's how you say her name. Anyway, I gave this one 4 stars. This was a quick Ex's Dad. I love Ex's Dad. It's fun. This was a holiday romance that was spicy with a decent plot. And the heroine's ex cheated on her. So she met his dad, the hero, at a medical tent during a marathon when she nearly passed out because her ex told her she couldn't run a marathon. She's like, oh yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to run a marathon. And his dad is a paramedic. So the hero is a paramedic, and he helps her. And he knew who she was, but she didn't know who he was until they met again at a bar, and he wanted to take her home, and she's like, well, yeah, and he's like, okay, but I gotta tell you, you dated my son. And I was like, respect, man, respect. And she's like, yeah, I'll still go with you. And they had a good time, and it turned into something a little more, as a holiday novella tends to do, and it was 4 stars for me. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And then I reread, so this is a reread, a Wallflower Christmas. This is Wallflowers 4.5. This is honestly not really a novella. It's all the whole book, okay? Because you get to see all the wallflowers, plus you get Christmas at Stony Cross Manor, and Rafe, who is Lillian and Daisy's roguish brother, comes. And he has to get betrothed to this very much society or aristocratic woman, and Hannah is his betrothed cousin. He prefers Hannah over who he was supposed to marry, because sparks fly. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed everything about this book. I gave 4.5 stars. Rafe is such a fantastic roguish hero. I just loved him, and I loved seeing all our wallflowers. 4.5 stars for that one, and that was a reread. So then I read Rusty Murdered Gentleman by Vicky Delaney, and this is book 1 in a year-round Christmas mystery series. So I gave this one 3 stars. There's nothing technically wrong with this book. The writing is really good. The plot is interesting, but I just could not connect with the characters. I could not connect with the plot. I didn't care. It had the vibes and everything, but for some reason, I was just like, it didn't work for me, and I don't know why. So I give that one 3 stars. And then I read Married in Moose Falls by Emily Silver. This is another one that takes place in Maine. There's like a few that take place in Maine. Anyhow, this one is an MM romance, and Charlie was always in love with Brooks, but he always knew that Brooks was straight. However, Brooks was newly divorced, jobless, and lost his house when Charlie let him stay with him. Brooks was attracted to men, but never told Charlie until one night during a game of Truth or Dare. Then all of a sudden, they fell into bed together and were supposedly in love. There was some festive fun times in here where they were like decorating ornaments and stuff, but there wasn't a lot of development from best friends to lovers. And as a novella, I know that the romance needed to develop quickly, but it also needs to be believable. And I felt like it was a little too convenient. Like, I feel like if she had put it a year after he was divorced and he had come back and he has a job, and then he's like, yeah, I experiment with guys, then that we'd be talking about something different, because the writing was fantastic. I enjoyed. She can write. She's a good writer. It was still a solid, fun holiday time. It's just, I didn't believe it, because he did not have a place to live. He was jobless, and he was newly divorced, and all of a sudden he is in love with his best friend. It didn't make sense. So that's why I was like, oh, 3 stars for that. I feel bad. I don't like giving things low. I don't. So if I give it low, there's a reason for it. All right, so No Harm, No Foul by Hannah Cohen. Okay, so Ivy is 21 years old. She broke up with her asshole boyfriend Travis months ago because he shamed her body and her sexual proclivities. Like, she has big boobs and stuff, and she has a whatever, like she's curvy, and he would say horrible things to her about her on a chat with his friends, and she found it. So she broke up with him. Then she runs into his dad, Nico, who's 37, when she was working on a project for his bar, and Nico pined for Ivy's mind and curvy body since he met her when she was still dating his son. And when she walked into his bar, they just got down and dirty, and he was happy when he accidentally got her pregnant, because then he could keep her. So there you go. It was a smutty, fun little, with a little bit of plot. They were snowed in together. I knew what it was going in, and it met my expectations. I just needed a bit more plot to buy into the romance a little bit. So, but it was a hell of a good time. It really was a hell of a good time. So I'm giving it 3.5 stars for that one. And then I read the Holiday Clause by Anne Einerson, and I really, really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. So this one, Lila always had a crush on her brother's best friend, whom she hadn't seen in years until her brother's engagement party. This is brother's best friend done right. Thank you. Brooks didn't recognize Lila until after he kissed her, and then he didn't talk to her again until he went home to Vermont to check on his grandmother. She works for his grandmother at their inn, and they were still pining for each other. His grandmother was meddling because he saw that they were both pining for each other. So he's like, so she basically forced him into her cottage, right? Because she's like, oh, you don't have a place to sleep. We're sold out. The beds are broken, la la la. So it ended up being forced proximity as well as a one bed trope. It was a lot of fun. Her brother's wedding was going to take place, so they were helping with all the wedding festivities. The romance was very well done. The characters were well developed and interesting, and I loved that they connected to each other. And I really loved that Brooks had talked to his best friend before he declared his feelings to Lila, and that Lila's brother wasn't a jackass, because that's always nice when the brother is not a jackass. Anyway, it had the Christmas feel with a quaint inn in Vermont. I will absolutely be reading more from Anne Einerson. And then the last book that I read, and I'm giving this 4 stars, is Last Christmas in Paris. This one, it takes place during World War I-ish, 2-ish, and I really enjoy this one. This is more, it is historical romance, but it's more characterized as historical fiction, I think. This one, we're reading it for the Leave It to the Pros book club, and I really enjoyed this one. This book was slower going, and it was told epistolary, so it was told with letters. I didn't quite like the moving forward and then moving back in time. So moving with the timeline moving as it did, I was like, I would start getting sucked in to where we're at, and then all of a sudden I get thrown back out. It's like, please don't do that, because, and that's where I have my issues with movable timelines. It just gets too much. Anyway, so those are all the books that I read. So if you made this far in this video, please leave me a Christmas tree emoji, and I hope you enjoyed part 2. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.